Hello everyone, this class will be an introduction to cardiovascular system. Cardiovascular system comprises of heart and blood vessels. The functions of cardiovascular system is to supply oxygen, nutrients and other essential substances to the tissues of body and to remove carbon dioxide and other metabolic end products from the tissues. Ventcastle vessels, that is distensible vessels. These vessels are highly elastic. Ventcastle means elastic reservoir. For example, aorta, pulmonary artery, and their larger branches. Resistance vessels, they contain less elastic tissue but more smooth muscles. They can change the diameter by contraction or relaxation of the smooth muscles. This changes the resistance and thus influences flow through these vessels. So these vessels are also called as resistance vessels. For example, arterioles, meta-arterioles, and precapillary sphincters. Capacitance vessels are thin-walled and highly distensible, so they have the ability to store large amount of blood and hence called capacitance vessels. For example, veins. Exchange vessels are the thin-walled and have fenestration and help in the exchange of materials between blood and interstitial fluid, for example, capillaries. Shunt or thoroughfare vessels are the bypass capillaries, for example, arteriovenous anastomosis. Windkessel effect. As the heart contracts intermittently, the pressure and blood flow in the large arteries is pulsatile. That is, during systole, volume of the blood is pumped maximum, and in diastole, it is minimal. However, the flow of blood through the blood vessels is continuous. It is because of the behavioral pattern of aorta and other large vessels. During ventricular systole, the blood enters the large arteries with considerable force, and this blood can be accommodated by distensible nature of the blood vessels. During diastole, force is absent and the volume of the blood entering vessels is zero. But since vessels recoil due to the elastic property, the blood pressure is retained and the blood is pumped to the periphery. This recoil effect is called as Windkessel effect, and the vessels exerting this effect are called as Windkessel vessels. For example, aorta, pulmonary artery, and their large branches. So this is the mechanism by which the Windkessel effect acts. When blood flows into the artery, it is going to create the pressure, and because of the elasticity, they are going to tend to distend, and when they recoil, they are going to push the blood in a forward direction, and this is called as Windkessel effect. Some of the hemodynamics related to cardiovascular system. The flow of blood through the vascular system is governed by a group of physical laws. Bernoulli's principle. It states that a tube or blood vessel, the sum of the kinetic energy or flow and the pressure energy is constant. Therefore, when fluid flows through the narrow portion of the tube, kinetic energy of flow increases as the velocity increases and the pressure energy is reduced. That is, the distending pressure decreases. Thus, greater the velocity of flow in a vessel, lesser will be the lateral pressure distending its wall. Laplace law. Laplace law is the relationship between the distending pressure and the tension on the wall in a hollow viscous object. It states that distending pressure, that is pressure in an distensible hollow object, is equal to the tension in the wall divided by two principal radii of curvature of object, that is R1 and R2. So P is T divided by R1 plus T divided by R2. In a sphere, in a lung alveoli, the radius 1 is equal to radius 2. Therefore, pressure becomes 2T divided by R. In a cylinder such as blood vessel, as one radius is infinite, therefore P becomes T by R. The physiological significance of law of Laplace here is smaller the radius of the blood vessel, lesser the tension in the wall necessary to balance the distended pressure. So this is why thin-walled and delicate capillaries are less prone to rupture. There are different types of blood flow: the laminar, that is streamline flow, and turbulent blood flow in the vessels. Laminar blood flow, the blood flow in a large number of layers at a steady rate, with each layer remaining at the same distance from the vessel wall. For example, characteristic of most part of the vascular system is laminar blood flow. Turbulent blood flow, here blood flow in all direction in the vessel and continuously mixing within the vessel. Thus, there is a greater energy loss compared to the laminar flow. For example, in the ventricles and in aorta, there will be turbulent blood flow. Okay. So here you can see actually the blood is in streamline. There are different layers with the different velocities. The central layer has a maximum velocity compared to the lateral, and this is the turbulent flow where the blood flow occurs in many direction. The Reynolds number, where the turbulence is given by Reynolds number. Reynolds number is equal to Vp into d divided by mu, where V is equal to velocity of flow in centimeter per second, P is the density of the blood, d is the diameter of the blood vessel, and mu is viscosity of the blood in poise. When the Reynolds number is less than 1000, the flow is always laminar. As the value increases, the probability of turbulence also increases. The turbulence develops when the Reynolds number exceeds 2000. In anemia, viscosity is decreased and systolic murmur is heard while auscultating the heart. So this is in brief about introduction to the cardiovascular system. Thank you.